appearance of terrifying life forms.
What the is that?
Moments that defy explanation.
It literally looks like you.
And strange sightings that no one can fully explain. This is a compilation of some of the most disturbing footage of encounters that you won't want to see.
I actually do feel kind of weird in this room.
Yeah?
It's that we know what happened here.
A couple was in the midst of a conversation in their child's bedroom while recording when there was a passing of a ghost. Initially, neither of them took notice of it until they reviewed the footage later on. Having rented the place, they started to hear rumors of their place where a tragedy had struck at their place with regards to a little girl who had passed away. The incident left them concerned, although there had been no dramatic incident that would risk their safety.
The story behind it, and overall, I think it's just pretty creepy.
Dragged by ghost. A spooky video appears to capture a terrifying moment when a ghost jumped at a teenager while he was reading a book in his house. The indoor camera shows the boy walking around his room with a book in his hand when the doors suddenly burst open. In an instant, a dark specter appears, soon after which it grabs and shoves him to the ground, dragging him across the floor by his feet, leaving viewers stunned by the eerie footage. The spectacle almost feels like some form of comeback or revenge. Magic or paranormal? An apartment tenant shared her doorbell camera footage showing her neighbor levitating off the ground while at the same time being in a trance. The camera, according to the owner, was motion sensor activated and filmed a moment of the incident. It is unclear if this was the doing of some supernatural figure or a magician, but it is certainly quite random and scary. However, the source clarified as to changing her apartment to be the most reasonable measure. Fast food worker pulled. Security camera footage from an unknown branch of KFC was shared online, where a worker was cleaning up before closing. At this moment, both of his legs were grabbed and pulled several meters away, where the clip gets cut off. With nothing visible, it is only evident that this was another case of a ghost or spirit. For some reason, it almost seems like the paranormal entities are starting to like the idea of dragging people away. Horned tribesmen. Just when you'd assume that a crowded public park in broad daylight would be the safest place to be, something unsettling breaks that illusion. After finishing a morning jog, a bystander in a New Jersey park not only noticed, but also captured on film the repeated appearance of a strange humanoid figure. Every so often, it would lift its head from a concealed spot, scanning the area before retreating again. Its head bore massive horns, darkened either by paint or its natural form. Whether this was a disturbed individual, a tribesman, or something far more sinister, a demon in human guise, remains anyone's guess. Vampire interview. As odd as this may have sounded, this clip will clarify. This footage was leaked by one of the cameramen who secretly filmed it from a far-off camera. Due to technical issues, he was only able to capture a glimpse of the interview, which was later leaked on the internet. The clip sparked debates among various communities with regard to the existence of vampires and Dracula in real life.
But I think I like you.
Parked bike moving. A private residence owner shared this clip online showing that some invisible entity attempted to drive off with a bike, despite no paranormal history anywhere around the house and no visible being. The only explanation was that this was some paranormal entity. It started the bike in an attempt to drive away, but was struggling to turn it around. Aside from turning the bike halfway around, left tire marks all over the tile. Front door silhouette. A homeowner started filming after he noticed a shadow of a man with a hat standing outside his door. At first, he thought it could be some beggar requesting a change, but the body language of it said otherwise. Then another thought came into his mind of someone preparing themselves to knock on the door and encounter after that. Now, when nothing followed even after the passage of several minutes, he decided to check it out himself. To his surprise, just as he opened the door to investigate, nothing was there outside, leaving him surprised. Looks like it could be a ghost that was looking for a way inside his home.
Front door.
Sharing accommodation nightmare. Sharing a room with a stranger can be unsettling. What if they aren't what they seem? A university student, after recently getting a new roommate, woke up in the middle of the night to find something unsettling. Her roommate's eyes were wide open, almost as if she were in a trance or taken over by a demon. Startled and unsure how to react without putting herself at risk, she chose to film the moment, taking her chances of pretending to sleep and actually sleeping it off. After all, no one would want to find out what happens by calling out to something like that while being alone with it in the room. Spooky vehicle intruder.
Ven amigo, ven esto. Está arriba de la troca, banda.
Imagine leaving your car behind for a short hike only to discover something of a very spooky nature sitting inside. A man who was returning to his cover until he noticed an intruder that was sitting inside, almost as if it were waiting for him. With pitch darkness and being in the middle of nowhere, the man maintained his distance, using only the flashlight on his phone while recording. Seconds later, a flame can be seen appearing as if it were lighting a cigarette. Moments later, his flashlight suddenly stopped, and the intruder mysteriously vanished out of thin air.
Mira, güey, mira la llama, güey.
Mentally challenged stalker. It is not just the suddenness of this encounter that makes it terrifying, but also the level of unprovoked escalation. Early one morning, a young woman was abruptly awakened by persistent knocking on her window, only to be shocked by what she discovered. A man was repeatedly bashing his head against the glass for reasons unknown. What made the situation even more disturbing was that he had climbed up to the first floor solely to do this. Acting quickly, the woman left her apartment and filmed the stalker from a safe distance outside. The randomness and lack of provocation strongly suggests that the stalker may have been mentally unstable. Ghost shadow. This is raw, unedited footage that was taken and shared from a security camera in an apartment, showing some of the most compelling video evidence of a ghost that appears in the form of a smoke or a vapor levitating through the apartment. Since the tenant living there didn't feel the presence of it until he reviewed the clip. Nor was this ghost showing any aggressive behavior. It proves that it had accepted a peaceful coexistence. Paranormal presence discovered. A young woman was streaming a makeup tutorial on TikTok when suddenly her closet doors began opening and closing on their own. At first, she ignored it, which in turn only escalated it as moments later.
No.
The lights flickered repeatedly before shutting off completely. This left her panicked enough that she grabbed her phone and rushed out of the house, but the recording suddenly cuts off. Creeping shadow. This is the kind of story that makes you second-guess every shadow in your room. A guy was relaxing at home when, out of nowhere, a massive, unsettling figure appeared in his bedroom. You can feel his fear through the shaky camera as he spins around to catch it. Curiosity pulls him back for another look, but it's gone. Vanished without a trace. What was it? A living shadow? A ghost toying with him? No one can say for sure, but one thing's certain, he'll probably be keeping the lights on at night for a long while. Spirit in statue. A group of friends who were hanging out came across a policeman-type statue that they were inspecting and posing around with, while one of them was recording. Only a minute into the footage, the recorder was suddenly able to see a soul-like shadow appearing out of the statue that instantly sent a shiver of fear down the spine. He showed the clip to his buddies, and the group immediately backed off from the area before fleeing for safety. Occupied vacation home.
Yo, what the is that? What the is that?
A man returning to his vacation home for the holidays noticed movement inside. Shining a flashlight, he realized his place wasn't empty after all. To his shock, a tall, dark figure appeared, moving casually past the large upstairs window. Unsure of what he was dealing with or how dangerous it might be, he chose not to confront the intruder, deciding instead to investigate later.
What the is that?
Super speed clash. A young Chinese man was going about his daily routine until he was suddenly struck from behind by an unidentified invisible object. The fast-moving object impacted him so strongly that it sent him flying into the air before crashing hard to the ground. From the footage, it appears to be something like an invisible car. Now, just as this would have easily remained as another unanswered incident, but luckily, a security camera caught it all on video. Moving doll. The simple fact that everything, like a doll or a teddy bear, is just an object to have around a child, until it somehow starts to move on its own. A recording baby monitor camera filmed a bizarre moment where a little girl who was alone and distracted when her doll started moving on its own. It sneaked up closer to the girl before it quickly dropped back down, just as the girl saw it moving. Looks like it's not just the living physical beings that can be taken over or possessed. Demon or vampire? Is this demon's possession in progress, or perhaps just a real-life vampire? It's hard to tell when they both look alike. A clip was taken by a random pedestrian who, while recording, bumped into another man who had really terrifying eyes, teeth, and the general vibe showing it to be anything but a human. Similarly, in another case, a man was called onto a podcast, where for a moment his eyes and body language changed to something like a demon, if not a vampire.
I may be unpleasant looking on the outside.
Playing with ghost? One dog owner, out for a walk and playing fetch with a frisbee, captured something unusual on camera. As the dog happily retrieved the frisbee, it suddenly appeared to struggle against an unseen force pulling from the other side, as if locked in a tug of war with something invisible. The astonished owner filmed the entire moment, left wondering if it wasn't a ghost. Then what else could it possibly have been? Sudden home invasion. A lone woman in her apartment was recording a video of herself until someone or something suddenly made an appearance that instantly terrified her. Naturally, in panic, she grabbed her phone and quickly left her apartment. Now this wasn't over just yet, as a similar incident followed days after, when she was busy hanging out with her cat, until she heard the presence of something walking over the door. Though this time she didn't see anyone, but could hear footsteps of something approaching, she locked herself in the bedroom since the only exit to the apartment was from where she was hearing the noise. Unknown. By the tracks. Although spotting people near or around the tracks might be a very normal thing, this case is a bit isolated. One of the crew members of a train shared a clip where they spotted an unknown person staring in the direction of the train with little to no movement. Now, what made this bizarre is that the area is protected by fencing and dense vegetation and no pedestrian crossings nearby. Now, this could either have been a mentally challenged man or a ghost in physical form. Midnight road figure. A driver was moving down the road late at night with a recording dashcam in his car when he came across this very sinister-looking man. It was standing by the intersection as if it were waiting for him or another driver. After moving a bit away from the road, the driver stopped at a safer distance to get a second look at it, but it wasn't visible anymore. Only seconds later, it suddenly appeared running towards the car, where the clip gets cut off abruptly. The nature of it remains a mystery. Headless hitchhiker. This was almost hidden in the plain sight and was spotted only by chance. A man who was heading out on a lunch break noticed a headless man hitchhiking on the back of a pickup truck. At first, he thought his eyes were seeing things improperly until he used his recording phone camera to zoom in on it to get a better look at it. It was sitting as casually as if it were something very normal. Perhaps this is exactly why it was only offered a ride at the back of the vehicle. Swimming pool doppelganger.
It literally looks like you. Yeah.
The chances of seeing someone who not only is dressed like you, but also looks exactly like you might be low, but never zero. A woman who was overseeing a children's swimming pool practice, where she spotted another woman who looked the same as her, apart from the look-alike dressing they both had. Now this sparked uneasiness to this being some coincidence, or some paranormal figure pretending to be her. Some of the viewers guessed it could be a double of a living person, which can be seen as an omen of bad luck.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
Weird dancing figure. This one may look like a human, but at the same time, looks nothing like one. A photographer was checking out the zooming capability of his newly purchased camera when he accidentally discovered this. Not too far from his location, he noticed the silhouette of a very tall figure of an unknown nature, casually dancing by the balcony as if it had an audience, although the place looked to be empty. From one point, it looked to be a man and a woman from another, aside from its hump-like posture. Look-alike stalker. A man who was returning from his girlfriend's place encountered a woman who looked very much like his girlfriend. The woman was very eagerly staring at him and knocking on his window anxiously, wanting to get his attention. Now, having left an hour ago, he was sure that this wasn't his companion, despite the physical similarities. This raised the question if this was some actual look-alike woman who was stalking him, or a supernatural entity that looked alive. Invisibly visible. Even though you may not see anyone else besides this guard, that isn't exactly the case here. A security camera recording taken from the lobby of an office building shows a security guard attending as if there were an approaching employee, delivery man, or repairman. According to the security guard, he actually saw a person whom he believed to be a regular night shift employee. After reviewing the footage, however, he became convinced that what he saw was some spirit or supernatural entity that tricked him into granting entry while remaining hidden from the camera's view. Whether it revealed itself to the guard on purpose is a question that remains unanswered. Strange rooftop hooligan. The weirder the intruder is, the more concerning the outcome gets. After several minutes of strange noises on the roof, the homeowners decided to get out and investigate, only to spot this very unusual-looking entity. For reasons unknown, it lingered there, moving unnaturally before reportedly vanishing. While some believe it was a real creature, others are convinced it was a burglar in disguise. What do you think it might have been? Zombie rage.
But my wife is on the phone because this right here is going on.
A couple that were having their time until a random woman walked towards them, expressing an unprovoked zombie-like rage towards them. Stopping by a fence wall, the enraged woman kept on struggling to somehow find its way in.
This is what I'm talking about. This is crazy business right here.
As one of them kept an eye on her, the other dialed 911 for help. The husband, who was confronting the enraged woman, started recording for legal reasons as she huffed and puffed with rage, attempting to force her way into the other side of the fence.
So this is still happening. So now we got some cops rolling up here.
Moving pants. Either the ghost here was trying on pants for the first time, or that this was some mere coincidence. While a family was filming themselves feeding a rabbit, they accidentally captured something unusual in the background. What appeared to be a pair of legs in light-colored trousers could be seen, but with no torso or any other part of the body visible. Standing beneath the streetlight, the figure resembled a hollow man, its presence revealed only by the pants. Spawning on the road. A driver on his way to work, with a dashcam recording, captured the sudden appearance of a man in the middle of traffic. From the very first frame, it seems as though the man either randomly emerged or inexplicably appeared beside a moving pickup truck. Now, according to theories of many, some suggested it could be a portal entry, while others are convinced that it to be more of paranormal activity. Stuck in trance. On July 27th, 2024, in Durham, North Carolina, a diner security camera captured a deeply unsettling scene. A disoriented-looking man wandered inside and stood silently at the order counter for several minutes. His eyes appeared to be completely white, and despite repeated attempts by the staff to speak to him, he gave no response. Keeping their distance, the employees watched nervously, unsure of who or what they were dealing with, or what he might be capable of. According to a bystander who recorded the incident, the man's behavior gave the chilling impression that he was under the influence of something dark, even demonic. Frozen group. Were they part of a cult, or simply possessed? A strange video shows 4 teenagers caught on camera exhibiting unusual behavior. They stood in a circle, leaning backward so far, it seemed as though they might collapse at any moment. With both the location and the original uploader unknown, the mystery only deepens. Real-life Green Goblin? As cool as it may seem, you can never fully expect to know what might come next. A resident from Hayes, West London, shared this clip of a man on a glider flying in the sky. The glider seems to be much smaller than the man on top of it, who looks to be motionless while flying. With not much known about it from mainstream sources, highlights the possibility of this being some secret government project. Metahuman woman. A young woman, after accidentally dropping and losing her key, became so frustrated that she suddenly revealed an unexpected strength. With just one hand, she effortlessly lifted a large object, as if it weighed nothing. The CCTV footage later surfaced online, sparking debate. While some viewers hailed her as a real-life superwoman, others speculated she might be something far stranger. Perhaps an alien or a shapeshifter who crossed into this dimension through some kind of space travel. Elevator shapeshifter. A security guard from a hotel was reviewing CCTV footage until he came across one that caught his attention. In it, he noticed a person who, in the late hours, was taking an elevator, whereas the doors were closed and shapeshifting from a man to a woman and vice versa. From the receding hairline to a change in facial structure and size, everything took only a cloud of seconds with a smooth, visible transition. Its real gender or sense of identity couldn't be known, as it kept on shape-shifting continuously. Mysterious fire phenomenon. As wild as the fires can be, seeing one float around the bushes is rather puzzling. A bystander was passing through a forest road when he noticed a ball of fire moving around the bushes and stopped to check it out. Initial thoughts were that it could be a handheld burning torch by someone exploring in the forest, which didn't turn out to be the case. Despite moving loosely through the dry forest, it wasn't even burning the dry wood or vegetation that made the spectacle even more bizarre. Beast in shadow. This clip has the internet spiraling into fear, and for good reason. The footage shows a young girl, visibly shaken, hiding inside what looks like a vast, abandoned tunnel or the basement of a crumbling house. At first, it's the silence that feels unsettling, but then the true horror unfolds. A pale, humanoid figure emerges from the darkness, moving with a slow, deliberate crawl. Its steps don't feel like stalking, but hunting, each motion heavy with intent. The atmosphere is suffocating, unnatural, almost pressing through the screen. Somehow, the girl stays hidden, pressed into the shadows, holding her breath as it inches closer. Abduction from Portal. Late one night, CCTV cameras overlooking a deserted city street captured something deeply unsettling. The timestamp showed just past midnight. A lone woman stood at the corner, her head slightly bowed as she typed on her phone, the faint glow of the screen lighting her face. Behind her, the footage revealed a strange distortion in the air, where a portal opened wide enough with a dark center rimmed by faint light. The woman seemed unaware that something from within pulled her body inwards, and the phone slipped from her hands. In a flash, she was gone, swallowed by the portal, which collapsed instantly. The phone remained on the pavement, its screen flickering, as the camera continued recording an empty, silent street. Haunting intruder. Imagine walking through your home when a strange noise comes from above. That's exactly what happened to one girl. Curious yet uneasy, she glanced up and froze. From a doorway high on the wall, a pair of eerie eyes stared back at her. They didn't look human. In an instant, the face slipped back into the shadows. Was it a ghost watching her, or something far darker, waiting for its chance? Some claim it was only a trick of the light or the house settling. But her fear was very real. In her place, I wouldn't stay to find out. I'd be gone in a heartbeat. New Jersey UFO. A resident of New Jersey shared his doorbell clip online, showing a bizarre object that was suspended not too high in the sky. Apart from it being unidentifiable, it seemed to be showing off different lightning shades before one of them started to shine like a gigantic bulb, glowing the entire area for a second. The same process kept on following several times until the object randomly disappeared. Judging from the shape, it clearly was a UFO that was either transmitting some kind of message or was responding to one. Headless Horseman. On the bright side, at least this encounter showed no signs of violence. In November 2019, a startling incident was captured on a GoPro camera around 1 a.m. near Rajajinagar in Bangalore, India. A motorcyclist came across a headless woman walking along the road, an apparition long rumored throughout the city, but often dismissed as a hoax. This time, however, the figure was caught clearly on camera. When the rider turned to look back, the woman had already vanished into thin air, leaving him shaken and bewildered by the unexplainable sight. Giant walking tree. Either it was an unusually tall alien overdue for a haircut, or a massive tree that had somehow come to life. In June 2017, tourists visiting the Barbados Islands captured astonishing footage of a colossal figure emerging from the sea. Towering with long limbs and a vast, bushy upper body, it looked almost like a moving tree, its surface resembling fur or thick branches heavy with leaves. The uncanny sight left onlookers stunned. With no clear earthly explanation, many began to wonder if they had just witnessed something of extraterrestrial origin. The video has definitely reached its end. I will see you again with another wow video. Until then, you can check these other videos out for a wow dose of entertainment and knowledge.